Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to the Idle Talk episode with yours truly, best, the boy, Nerbath, Fabrian, whatever you want to call me. Today we're going to talk about Season 3, Episode 3 of The Mandalorian. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on what the episode was about, hit you with a few plot, and then with no spoilers, and then, well, a little bit of a spoiler, but nothing crazy. And then at the end, I'm going to spoil a lot, because I'm going to talk about my opinions, what I liked, what I didn't like, things like that. Yeah, so let's just jump into it. We start this episode off right where we left the last one off, where Mando fell into the waters, and then he... and then got saved by Bo-Katan, and then she saw a mythosaur, and that was really fucking cool. I didn't like that. I'll leave it to spoilers, because I don't want to spoil shit. But we start there, and then we see some like cool ass like fight scenes, ship fight scenes. What are they called? Dog fights? I don't know. I'm not a pilot. So we see a lot of those, and that's really cool. Seeing them fly around and kill TIE fighters and TIE interceptors are really cool. And then we move on, and then we start following the doctor from season 1, who originally was tasked in like getting Grogu's genetics, or trying to clone him, where like put back in his story, which, by the way, low key, his story is sad as fuck, and I feel bad for what happens to him. We follow him a lot, and so I mean, the plot is whatever. I don't really care about these characters that they introduced here. But what I did like, I really liked seeing, what are they called? The Republic? Something? There was the Republic something. Alliance or something. It was nice seeing what is different and what is similar to the Empire, now that the Republic has taken, power after they fell. So we follow the doctor from season 1, Dr. Pershing, of him integrating back into the world. Well, now that he works for the good guys, quote unquote, right? He works for the Republic now instead of the Empire. And we're following his day to day and how does he feel about everything and things like that, which is really cool. I love seeing Coruscant. I love seeing the Republic. I loved watching, loved the scenery, bro. It was beautiful seeing Coruscant again and seeing how like lived in it is. And then we meet his like co-workers, I guess you would say, and there's like a specific one that like we focus on and we follow, and like from the moment she got introduced, I was like, I don't like this bitch, just because like she seemed off. And then I started warming up to her throughout the episode. I was like, oh, maybe it's just me being a fucking asshole and just judging people based off like the first interaction we have with them. So I gave her the chance, and then turns out I was right, but we'll get to that. So we follow them, and then at the end, after that storyline, we return back to Mando and Bo-Katan, returning back to the hideout where all the other Mandalorians are, and then basically telling the armorer, who's like the leader of this cult, I guess. But low-key, the interaction between the two of them was a lot better than I thought it would be. But they returned there, and they explained to her how like Mandalore isn't poisoned, and that they can go back, the living waters are real, blah blah blah. And also I had a theory from the very first episode of the season when she pours liquid into the thing that she makes the Beskar in. I was like, that's probably the living waters, right? Because like, why would it be so important? And then it turns out it was, because when she poured the liquid into the other one, it like glue like episode 1, and I was like, oh, that's cool. It like confirmed my own headcanon that I had. So I would give this episode, I would say, I enjoyed all of it. I would take some things out that I was like, this isn't necessary. But it was cool to see. I would give it like an 8.5 out of 10. And yeah, that is my review of this episode. So thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Yeah, and if you are cool with spoilers and you're still rocking with me, that's dope. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna run back to the beginning, and now I'm gonna start spoiling shit. So right after they got out of the water cave and they started like flying back to Bo-Katan's little like castle, I guess it would be, or her home, where she was like chilling. They're flying back there to go pick up Din's ship, or the Mandalorian ship. And then they get attacked by the remnants of the Empire. So they get attacked by TIE interceptors, I believe. They said they were. Yeah, because even in the fight, he's like, oh, these are tougher than TIE fighters. And they get like 2 or 3 of them, I think it's like 3 or 4 that show up, and they take them out easy. I'm like, yo, this piloting is fire, bro. Din is a good-ass pilot. And then you see Bo-Katan, and the way her I think, I'm going to be real with y'all, as much as everyone likes the Millennium Falcon and the Razor Crest and whatever, right? I really fuck with Bo-Katan's ship. It's so cool. It looks cool as hell. And it, like, its wings go up and down or whatever. So she uses that maneuver to like drift in the air, and it's mad cool. So they fight off these fighters, and then even more reinforcements come. And then it's like, yo, we got to get the fuck out of here. And she's like, nah, I'm not splitting. They blew up my house, bro. Oh, by the way, yeah, they blew up her house. They bombed the castle, right? And then he's like, nah, bro, like, there's a bunch on the radar. We got to go. And she's like, where the fuck are we going? And like I said earlier, they end up going to the cult of Mandalorians that are in hiding. But he's like, oh, just trust me. Like, we're going to go somewhere they can't follow us, right? And he sends her the coordinates through fast travel, and then we jump to the other storyline of this episode, which is the Dr. Pershing. He's saying a speech, and I guess it would be the Senate. It looks like the Senate. It might not be, but he's talking to the Republic Alliance, telling them about how his job, about working with the Empire, and how he wants to make the world a better place with genetics, and how he originally just wanted to clone organs and things for people who were dying or needed replacements, because his mother originally died because she needed a replacement organ, and in his home world no one had it, or no one had the technology to clone the organ to give it to her. So then he started becoming a cloning engineer, right, or a scientist, and everyone's praising him, being like, oh wow, you're so great, thank you so much for like joining. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I really fuck with this, like, us showing us the other side of the, because every time they show us anything political in Star Wars, it's always either super fucking boring or super fucking evil. Like, like politically, like, all of Star Wars, everyone is so mean and like fucking evil. At least most of the politicians are. So it was kind of cool seeing them like all like mingle and be like sort of nice to each other without like trying to backstab. But then I regretted it immediately, because they do backstab each other eventually. But so then he gets housing, and he gets a job now that he is working under the Republic Alliance of the Empire. Which, by the way, that's dope on them. The Empire would have just killed most of the rebels they didn't give a fuck about, or make them into slaves like they did in Andor. So if you watched Andor like that, they'd probably just throw them in like concentration camps and make them work. But the Republic Alliance, right, I guess technically it is kind of the same. They are just giving them a job, and be like, whether you work and you get housing, or you could just be free and be poor and be homeless. So I guess it's kind of the same thing, but it's not forced upon you. So he's like getting, it was cool seeing the Coruscant, like all the cars that are floating and stuff, and like seeing them like drive around like originally Obi-Wan and Anakin did when they were chasing that assassin or whatever. It was a really cool scene. And then he arrives at I think it's called the Amnesty House or something like that, and it's like where all the people who used to work for the Empire but now work for the Republic are living and like contributing to the Republic, right? And so he meets these people. And then he connects, or not connects, he recognizes someone that he worked with previously on Moff Gideon's ship, which is the villain from the last 2 seasons, right? Who originally had Darksaber. So he recognizes her, and he's like, oh my God, what are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And then she starts to build a connection with him, and like low-key try to like what's the word, like manipulate him, like give him things and be nice to him, but for her own gain. And I like immediately I caught that type of like vibe from her. So like they're talking about things they missed about the Empire, right? And they're like, not like the genocide and all the evil shit that you were doing, right? But like the day-to-day things. Like, what did you miss about it? And then the doctor is like, oh, I miss like these cute, like, small yellow biscuits that they would give us in these rations, and they don't serve them anywhere else in the world, right? And so that night when he goes to sleep, someone knocks on his door, and it's a package of these cookies or these biscuits, right? And he's like, what the hell? Who gave me these, right? It makes no sense that someone could get these so easily when they're specifically were made for, or not specifically made, but they were in the Empire rations, right? And so in order to get these biscuits now, you would either have to have these rations because they can't be found anywhere else. So it's suspicious, right? And then the only people that he told that about is the small group of people that were like sitting there drinking with him in that area. So it has to be one of them. So he wakes up the next morning, and then he goes to work. And his job basically is getting all the old Empire equipment, archiving it, and then destroying it, right? And it's counterintuitive because for him, at least, he believes that anything can be used for good, whether that be technology or knowledge. He's like Ravenclaw low-key, if you know what I'm talking about, Harry Potter. So he likes to like look for knowledge. He wants to use everything to his advantage. And I agree with him. Like, bro, use the Empire's things to better whatever systems you're working with. But I guess the Republic doesn't want to use any other stuff, so they're just destroying it. And then he's tempted, right? So and then he gets like, I think he gets like a weekly review by this like droid. And it asks him questions like, are you happy at the workplace? Do you get along with all your coworkers? Do you have any resentment towards the Republic? Things like that, right? And he gets these things weekly, and you can tell it's draining him because every few times that you see him in this thing, his expressions are different. He's answering differently. And as time progresses, you can see that he's like, oh, this sucks. As much as like, it is cool that they're helping me and like whatever. He has a passion to, be a doctor, be a scientist. He wants to continue his research in genetic cloning or genetics, period, because he says that they were very close to a breakthrough, he says. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it probably has something to do with Grogu, and I guess later down the line in the sequel series where Palpatine ends up cloning himself, because at least currently you cannot clone someone who is force sensitive because midichlorians and shit like that. So yeah, so then this girl, right, this I forget her name, some officer that used to work with him, suggests to him that, why don't you just continue your research, even if it is, actually, my bad, let me go back. So when he's going to these checkups with these bots, he asked the bot that, is it okay if he continued his research on the side, like, just for fun? And she's like, well, yeah, but no, because if I look through your record, it shows that you were a genetic scientist and a cloning scientist, and that's prohibited by the Coruscant law. And he's just like, damn, okay. So like the droid shuts down his dreams to continue his research. But then this girl, right, the next time they see each other, she explains to him like, listen, you can do things. You're not, this isn't the Empire. Like, you're not trapped to do what they tell you to. You don't have to always listen to the rules. If you think it's going to be beneficial to the New Republic, do it, and then show them the results so that way that they can see it. And he's like, wow, it's actually pretty smart, right? And so you can see it start changing his mind. And then they go on like this weird, like low-key date thing. Like, she's showing him around the town. She's showing him around Coruscant. They finally, what was really cool to see? So when she's giving him a tour of Coruscant, there's like this big rock and like some spot. And then she explains to him that this mountain or this rock was the highest peak of Coruscant before they started building all the cities around it, which is insane to me because it's so like low to the ground compared to all the buildings in the area. So they must have like completely like, what's the word? Like when you get rid of all the stuff. I know the word because I played Animal Crossing and you do it in Animal Crossing. But like they got rid of all the trees, all the rocks, all the mountains, and just started building cities on top of them, and floating cities and floating cars, right? So it's really cool to see that Coruscant originally wasn't like that, Like it's hard to think, like it makes sense that it wasn't, but it's hard to think about it because anytime we've ever seen Coruscant, it's been like a big New York of like the Star Wars world, right? So it's really cool to see that originally before all these people settled here, right? It was more of a regular planet. Natural resources, things like that before humans went and fucked it up. Well, I guess it wasn't just humans because there's aliens in Star Wars. So she convinces him to go to the scrapyard. Well, he doesn't know it's a scrapyard, but she convinces him to go to the scrapyard to get these parts or things in the Empire junkyard where they have equipment where he can continue his research, right? And he's like, wow, isn't that against the rules? And again, what I was saying earlier, she's like, yo, listen, like, you could just do whatever you want. This isn't the Empire. They're not going to kill you just because you break some rules, right? So it like slowly but surely convinces him, and then they go on this trip, and then they go on the train. They're avoiding the droid that takes the tickets, and then they jump off the train and they land to the junkyard, right? And like there was little things that she was doing throughout the episode that I'm like, I don't know if I trust her, right? But then she was like, the scenes that they were having together, like them eating ice cream together, them talking to each other, him telling her about his mother and his backstory, right? I was like, oh, maybe I'm just judging too much. Maybe they will have a good connection and they will have like a good relationship. Like even when they jump out of the train, right? She's like, yo, hold my hand, let's jump. So I'm like, maybe I'm just judgy. I'm just a judgy person. Maybe I'm just judgy. Maybe I got to give it some time. So they get to this facility. They're searching around. They get to the lab. And she's like, why don't you just take all of it? And I was like, why do you want her to take all of it? I was like, that's a little weird. That's a little suspicious. Right? And then like you start hearing things in the background, like you hear like a plane or a helicopter, and she's like, oh, it's just a ship settling. And then that's the second this bitch lying. Like after that I was already like on edge. I was like, this bitch is gonna betray him. I know it. And it felt shitty because he seemed like such a genuine dude. Like it really seemed like he didn't want to do any evil, right? So then he starts packing up like this like weird like suitcase type thing. And with all the cloning stuff, I guess it is. And then right as they go outside, bro, boom, cops everywhere. Lights, camera, action. They shooting. They pointing guns at him. And they're like, put your hands up. You're under arrest for trying to rob this junkyard, right? And they only say his like code name, which is weird that they're doing that after living with the Empire and seeing what the Empire did with all the clones and not giving them names. And then they went and did the same thing. I don't know. I just felt like that was super weird. But I guess it's supposed to parallel. Like, you're supposed to see, like, oh, they're not that different. Like, they are better, but they're not that much different. Like, anytime you give any group of people power, a lot of it does, like, transfer over a lot of those corrupt ideas. So, back to what I was saying. He gets caught. But they only address him, right? And then at that point, I was like, oh, nah, she betrayed him. Why wouldn't they address them both? If clearly, they're both doing the deed, right? And she picks up this box and walks to the cops, and he gets arrested. And I'm like, yo, this fucking bitch, bro. This bitch. It's like, fuck this bitch. And I was like, and then again, I was like, wait, maybe I'm being judgy. Maybe there's a reason on why she's betraying him. Maybe there's, like, some colluding. Maybe she's gonna, like, snitch on him and then break him out and then be like, haha, I got us. Look, we got the equipment, and now we're free. That's what I thought, right? I thought maybe I'm being judgy. Maybe shit will turn around. So he gets captured, and then he gets put on a table. And on this table, he's on a machine called the Mind Flayer, which, by the way, Stranger Things, also cool reference. Or I guess Dungeons and Dragons, actually. So what this machine is doing is it erases memories. And the Empire used to use it to torture people. Or just outright, like, completely erase their memories to make them senile and, like, just listen to orders. And now the Republic is using it, and they're like, nah, we're gonna crank it down. We're gonna make it a nice, enjoyable thing. And he's, like, begging, like, please don't lobotomize me. Like, I can only imagine someone who is a doctor or very smart in a specific field, years of research or years of like studying this thing, and then in a second all of that is gone because they just decided that nah, we don't want that information. And now not only do we not want the information or want the research that you're doing, we're gonna make you forget all of it. And I was like, damn, that's really, I felt so bad for him, especially after that like story he gave about his mother, how like she was a cloning scientist and how she just wanted to help people and how he just wants to continue that. So yeah, he's on this table and this bitch is like across, like it's like the glass and watching him, and she's just watching, and I'm like, oh, and he's asking her like, no, like he's like, whatever she told you, she's lying. Like she set me up, blah, blah. And first, it's something that I really hate about a lot of TV shows and a lot of movies, that why is it that they always just believe one person in a lot of these scenarios where in modern society, you aren't guilty. You are innocent until proven guilty. But I feel like in all movies, it's like everyone's immediately guilty. They don't ask questions. They don't investigate. They don't see how it happened. Like in that city, there should be CCTVs. Or I guess cameras. They have droids everywhere to show you what, like, that she was in on it the whole time, that it wasn't just him, right? Why would you just trust someone? Whatever, right? So he's asking, like, oh, why would you betray me? What the hell? Like, and then the guy is just trying to, like, completely ignoring him and just explaining to him what the procedure is. And he's like, no, I know what this is. It's gonna remove my memories. I don't want to lose this. He's like, no, it's on a low setting. It's gonna feel like a little, like, it's just gonna feel like you're high. And so they turn the machine on, and then they put this thing on him, and so he can't see. And then we go back to the girl, and now the girl is talking to the guy who's operating the machine, and then he's like, all right, let's go. Like, he gets a few minutes, and then we'll come back in. And she's like, he's still my friend. Like, it's cruel, blah, blah, blah. Like, bullshitting. Like, can I stay and watch or stay with him? And he's like, yeah, sure. Like, it's your friend. I understand. And he walks out. And then the moment he walks out, that bitch cranked it up. She cranked it up. So now he's not going to be a little high like everyone was describing. He's going to get tortured, or he's going to lose all she's going to fry his brain. Either kill him or make him forget everything. And I was like, this fucking bitch, bro. I was mad as hell watching this show. I had to, like, pause it for a second because of how mad I was at this fucking character. And so we just leave. We just end off there, and then we go back to Din and Bo-Katan arriving at the, like, Mandalorian cult, and then Paz Vizsla being a bitch, being like, y'all don't belong here. Y'all not Mandalorians, blah, blah, blah. And then Din is like, actually, bitch, I got the waters and I got proof. And then they go into the armorer's, like, little hut thing. I don't know, cave. It's more of a cave, not a hut. And then she tests the waters, turns out to be true. And then she tells all the Mandalorians, like, nah, Din has been redeemed. He is one of us. And then what's cool, like what I said earlier, where I was like, this is actually really cool because whatever. And I was like, nah, I don't want to spoil it. So I've always wanted to see the armor and Bo-Katan interact because there are two very strong women that are two Mandalorians, but they both have two completely different ideas or, like, thoughts about what a Mandalorian is and what makes a Mandalorian, right? And she tells her, like, oh, you bathed in the waters too, right? And she's like, yeah. And then she asks her, have you removed your heaven sin? She's like, no, not yet. Or she just says no, and she's like, well, then you have been redeemed. You're part of our group. You're part of the cult. Like, you're part of our clan now. And then she's like, but I don't walk away. She's like, and that's fine. You're free to do whatever you want. Just know that until you take the helmet off, you are part of us. And I was like, oh, that's really dope. That she would, like, welcome her in even after, like, talking, like, crazy shit about her family in, like, the first two seasons. Or saying how much, like, they destroyed the Mandalorians, right? So it was really cool seeing her that the armor is truly, like, you know, a very respectable Mandalorian. She really is a G, bro. She just wants her people to strive again, and you could really see that. And then the episode ends, and again, I would say all the Mando and Bo-Katan scenes, loved it. Every second of it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm hooked. I love all of this. It's sick. And then, you know, the Coruscant stuff, I loved all the scenery. I loved the scenery. I loved all the atmosphere. I love seeing the Republic. Do I care about Dr. Pershing and that other, like, girl? Not at all. I don't give a fuck about that character. If anything, I care more about Dr. Pershing now, and I hate the other character. I guess that's what they were trying to do. Like, I actively want her to fail, and I want him to regain whatever the fuck he lost, which probably won't happen. A lot of these characters don't get happy endings unless you're a main character and you have pod armor. But yeah, and that is the episode. Thank you guys for listening so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. We're currently putting up clips and things like that. Just follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We're putting clips on TikTok again now. So make sure to follow us on all these social medias. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Love you. Bye-bye.